Welcome, everyone, back to our Secure Dental podcast, where we bring in many different talents from both inside and outside our dental industry. Today, we have a very, very special guest, Dr. Eric Recker. Did I say your name right? I hope.
You nailed it. Good job.
Cool. And Dr. Recker is practicing dentist in Iowa. So before we dive into his details and his great story, I would just like to give a shout out to my sponsor, which is DentVia. DentVia is a virtual dental assisting company that, does all the back end stuff, and they basically help, the front desk, office manager to take care of calls, scheduling, like marketing leads and all that good stuff. All the front desk people, they hate to do. So they do all the back end stuff and they help with our front staff. So definitely visit them at www.dentvia.com. That's DENTVIA.com. Now, let's get to the show. So I got Dr. Recker here. He is a motivational speaker, a dentist that practices in Iowa, and he has a great story to share with us. I'm not even going to try the intro. I will just let Dr. Recker go ahead and introduce himself and just tell us a little bit about his history and how he got started. So Dr. Recker, the floor is all yours.
Thank you so much for having me, Dr. Lou. I'm really excited to be here today. I can tell you the short version of my story. It'll only take about 4 hours. And so we'll just do that. And by then everybody will be well asleep and we'll have 4 episodes recorded. So we'll be all set, right?
There you go.
I've been a practicing dentist for 22 years. So I graduated in 2002 from University of Iowa, but I have to go back way farther than that. So when I was in second and third grade, I was a little rough around the edges. I was a little husky, you could say. I was one of the youngest people in my class. And where I grew up in central Iowa, recess kickball was life in the early 80s. And so at recess, we would go out and we'd form teams and we'd play kickball. Well, I was told that I wasn't good enough to play. It would have been one thing if I was picked last. But the problem was I was told that I wasn't even good enough. So I would have to sit there and watch the people in my class play kickball while I stood on the sidelines. Well, after this happened enough, I remember standing on the sidelines saying, I am going to be so good at everything I ever do in my life that no one's ever not going to pick me. Well, guess what that led to? It led to burnout. And it led to burnout in a huge way. So what happened is everything in my life was not good enough. It wasn't good enough that I was in the top 15 in my dental class. I had to be in the top 10. It wasn't good enough that my practice was cranking. It had to crank more. It wasn't good enough that I was starting to run. I had to do more than that. So I went all the way through Ironman triathlon, mountain climbing, all this kind of stuff. And what it really led to was burnout. So pretty serious burnout. I had 3 what I would consider big seasons of burnout where I had chest pain, heart palpitations, panic attacks, all that stuff, which ultimately led me to nearly selling my dental practice and walking away. Problem with that is that I would have just been running away from the burnout. And so when that fell through, I had to figure out what I really wanted to do with life. That was in 2021. And now at this point, I now have a partner in my dental practice. I've sold half of my practice, so we're 50-50 partners. I see patients 3 days a week. And on the other days, I coach and speak to people and groups about mindset, burnout, self-care, self-awareness, all of those kind of things. So I'm in a great space right now, but it's been quite a road to get here.
That's such an amazing story. So how old were you when you first realized that, okay, they keep saying I'm not good enough. What I got to do, I got to be the best. What was the age frame?
So the first time that I said that out loud, and it's something that was, I guess, hidden in my subconscious somewhere because I only remembered it a couple of years ago. But it started in elementary school. when I was standing there, say, on the
Okay.
recess playground, believing that I wasn't good enough. And I heard those words all the time. Anytime I would get a grade back that wasn't as good as I had hoped it would be, you are not good enough. Anytime I wouldn't be anytime I wasn't as good athletically as I wanted to be, you are not good enough. And I just heard it and I heard it and I heard it. And I think so many of
Mm,
us have those things that were said over us when we were younger that
right.
impact the way we live our lives, the way we do our daily living. And those things need to be identified, and they need to be retired, and they need to be replaced with something that's much more productive.
So would you say that was an emotion that actually got you fired up? And if that was the emotion that got you fired up, I mean, how did you figure out that was, you know, defined as a burnout?
Yeah, so it took a long time. I had to go through the burnout, and what would happen is every time I would get burned out, I felt like something was missing. So I'm obviously doing something wrong. Something's missing in my life. So I have to add something. Well,
Mm,
that was part of the problem. I kept adding more and more things. So my first real season of burnout, the one that I really, now in retrospect, I know that's what it was. It was buying my dental practice from my father. I was building a new clinic. I was coaching both of my kids in soccer. I was on 5 different boards, and I was training for 2 Ironman triathlons. I mean,
wow.
that's crazy, right? Who does that? That is way, way, way too much. But like the frog that gets put in the water and then the heat is turned up, I didn't realize until it was too much. So what I've realized is when we really get to that burnout space, oftentimes we have to look at everything that we have going on in our lives. And instead of adding something else, something needs to go. So what are all the things that are going on in our lives? And how can we look at all of those objectively and say, okay, might feel like something's missing, but really something probably needs to go. And that's kind of where I got to.
So when you speak to people and when you identify their issue, or they ask you to help them identify, what are some of the traits or some of those things or patterns that I would say that you look out for? Like if somebody is about to enter like, a burnout phase.
Yeah, one of the things that I have definitely noticed, and it was very true in my life as well, now that I look back on it, is life just kind of seemed gray. It didn't seem like there was a lot of color in life. A lot of the things that
Mm,
gave me a lot of joy weren't giving me joy during that season. I was kind of pulling back from things. I was going very introspective with my thoughts. I wasn't doing a great job communicating with my wife. I was trying to hold it all together and holding it all in. So if the things that used to excite you aren't exciting you anymore, what's going on with that? We probably need to pull the thread on that. One of the examples that I like to use for this is the movie, The Secret Life of Walter Mitty. We're big movie fans at our house. And what happens in this movie is the main character, Walter, lives a very gray existence. And the cinematography in the movie is masterful. And it just shows everything's gray. It's dull. It's monotone. He's not living a very exciting life. But as the movie goes on, the colors start to appear. Adventure starts to appear. He starts stepping into exciting things. And his life goes from gray to extremely vibrant. So noticing the grayness, like you wake up every day and it just feels the same. You go to work with kind of a low level or a high level angst towards your job. You can't get excited about things. You also maybe don't get as bummed about things. You're just kind of hanging out in that middle space. And that's a good reason to start sounding an alarm.
how much of it do you feel it's internal mindset and how much do you feel like it's external?
Yeah. So I think a lot of it is internal. It really is.
Mm,
we get into these patterns, and Einstein defined insanity as doing the same thing over and over again and expecting different results. Whether that quote is actually his or not doesn't really matter, but we keep doing the same thing over and over again and expect things to change. So if something's not working, how can we switch that up? What add? What's a little thing that we can add to kind of disrupt the routine? Sometimes it's as much as changing our drive home from work. Maybe it only takes us 5 minutes to get home. What if and that's my situation. If I drive to work, it's only about 5 minutes to get home. Sometimes that's not enough. I have another route to get home that takes me more like 20 minutes. And sometimes once in a while, we just need to do that and roll the windows down and let the breeze blow through and just be quiet and experience the moment. So what are some things, if we're feeling life is gray, how can we add some color to our lives? Can we add an ice cream date with our family at the end of our work week to celebrate that we made it through another week? Can we have a phone call with a good friend? Can we reward ourselves with a little bit of time to just listen to music or just hang out for a little while without anything to do? What are some of those things we can do to add a little color in our life? There's always going to be external pressures. We're not always going to be able to control those. Correct. But if we work on the things that we can control and influence, things like our mindset, our habits, our routines, then we're much more likely for the rest of it to work well.
That's amazing what you just said, because I believe strongly that pattern that we have daily in our lives, it's got to be switched up. It's like working out at the gym, right? It's like you always have to have different routines. And what you just said, it just kind of resonated a little bit. So tell me something here. When you found out that you were burned out and you kind of switched your mindset and now you started seeing things differently, was it one event or was it like a series of events that kind of got you to where you are today?
Yeah. So one of the reasons I am so passionate about helping other people is I went really far down that burnout journey, really far down it. And I believe if I hadn't done something about it, that there's a chance that there is a chance I might not be alive today, or there's a chance that at some point my life would be cut short because of the amount of stress that I had. So that's why something needed to happen. I mean, burnout almost made me sell my dental practice because I couldn't figure out any other way around it. I just figured that I had to leave it. And that's a pretty scary thought. And from talking to other dentists, I know that I am not the only one that is thinking right now, man, this mountain of getting to a point where I actually enjoy my practice, that mountain's just too high. I'm never going to get to the top of that. I'm never going to get to the point where I enjoy what I'm doing. Well, yeah, you're never going to get there if you don't take the first step. So I went so far down that it almost took me out. And boy, if I would have sold my dental practice and walked away, I don't know what the heck I was going to do. What was I going to do with myself? The burnout was going to follow me. That's the really tricky part. The burnout was going to follow me. It was going to be there wherever I was, and it was going to show up in different ways. So because I went through all of that, I thought, okay, I'm not alone here. I need to go to work figuring out what are the steps? How can we stop this along the way? How can we help other people move forward? And how can I really make a big impact? Because that's what I want to do. I love my practice. I love my patients. I love the relationships I've built with people over 20 plus years. That's amazing. But I believe that because of my burnout journey, I was made to leave a bigger impact, maybe on the dental community as a whole, or maybe just on different practices where people are going through those same issues. So I'm in that space where I'm fortunate to get to do both of those, but it's because I've done a lot of work trying to figure out, okay, what are other dentists struggling with? Wow, they're struggling with a lot of the same things that I was struggling with. Okay, how can we help people create a life that they don't want to get away from? So that's really what motivates me.
Love it. Love it. You know, there's a subsequent questions that I would like to ask you. Number one is, it's a two-part question. Number one is, what are you doing now to help dentists get out of burnout? And number two is, once they identified some of the actionable items by hearing this podcast, what can they do like right away?
Yeah. So one of the things that I'm doing for dentists is one-on-one coaching. The thing about being a dentist is it can be very lonely, especially if you are a solo practice, if you own a practice by yourself. You have teammates, but there's a hierarchy there, and you can't share everything with your hygienist, or you can't share everything with your assistant. That's just, we don't feel comfortable doing that, nor is that their burden to bear. Or even where I had two dentists that worked for me, but I was the owner, and it felt very isolated at the top. So what I like to do is come alongside people as an ally. Kind of you are not alone. Here's somebody else who's walked this journey. Let's see if we can walk it together and help you be able to come up with some better systems and habits and routines so that you can feel better, so that you can feel like you're not alone, so that you can feel like you have a plan going forward. And so people who are listening to this and hearing some of the actionable steps, I love the phrase small but significant. It's one of my favorite phrases. So oftentimes we can go to a dental CE class and, okay, what are we going to implement? Oh man, we learned all this stuff. We got to implement it all Monday morning. And we come back and our team's like, oh my gosh, he's going to bring all these new ideas. Mm-hmm. Just leave him alone for a little while. It'll pass, and we'll get to move forward. Yeah, right. Because I know you've been to a class before and you're like, I'm going to implement all this stuff and I'm going to do all these things. And then Monday morning hits and we're like right back to the grind and, oh, great idea, but that's not going to work for me. So when I say small but significant, what I mean by that is you can't cure burnout by snapping your fingers. You just can't. It's a process. It's a journey. And we also want to create things and add things into our lives that help it to not come back. So what is one small but significant thing you can do today to push back the hold of burnout in your life? What is one small but significant thing you can do in your routine to switch things up, to maybe make a change a little bit? Boy, I always come to work at 10 till 8. I always feel fried when I come in there, and then I'm ready to go. I feel like I'm behind the 8 ball every time. Okay. Would it be better if you came in at 20 till 8 and you had a chance to maybe review and do a couple things before you started your day? Mm-hmm. Man, I always work through lunch and I'm always shot at the end of the day. Okay. What if you took 15 minutes of that lunch period, that lunchtime that you have, and you just sat at your desk and you closed your eyes? What if you tried that? So that's what I'm getting at. I'm always trying to help people do that. Some people think, well, I don't have a clue. What are the small but significant things I can do? Well, one thing that I have on my website is a 5-day knockback burnout challenge, because I know so many people are facing this, and it's basically 5 steps that you can take towards easing the hold of burnout in your life. And then at the end of that, I talk about some options of coaching. If you want to work, see if we could have a call and see if I might be a good fit to help walk alongside you. But I'm somebody who believes in giving out a lot of resources. So there's several things available on my website, ways to help take care of yourself, I have a newsletter that I put out, 3 ways to win, just lots of great resources, because I want to help. I want to be a part of the solution for sure.
Oh, that's great. We'll definitely share the link to your website as well as all your resources. That'd be awesome. What are some, how long does a journey take, for someone in your, experience who you've helped, in the past? Let's say you got started with them on a coaching program. Does it vary by individual, or is there like a specific time goal that you give your clients?
Yeah, that's a great question. There's a couple different paths that we can take. There is a 3-month version coaching package that we use sometimes. And basically in that we meet 10 times. And what we do is we get clear on what you want. And then we work on some systems and habits to get you moving forward. Typically what happens is people want a little more than that. They want to go a little bit deeper and not only have that initial coaching relationship, but kind of an ongoing mentorship / coaching. And then after that, oftentimes we'll just meet once a month going forward. So that would be more like a year package. So we'd meet fairly intensely for those first 3 months, once every week or every other week. And then the rest of the time, it would just kind of be monthly check-ins, seeing how everything's going, and then adding in some new strategies as we go along. And I have one person that I've been working with for about 2.5 years right now. And she just needs that ongoing check-in. And I'm happy to provide that. So it's different for everybody. It really depends what you want to get out of the relationship.
It's such a great service you're providing. Doc, I mean, honestly, before, you and we met, I used to hear about burnouts, but, it was always like something in the back of my mind. I never thought it was like a real physical thing. And I always thought it was more like psychological in nature, and which is psychological in nature. But I always felt like, it would be like sheer willpower for somebody to just come over it themselves. But hearing from you, it seems like, there's a huge population that needs help. And what you're providing, I think it's amazing, because when you're stuck in that rut hole, that's the world you're living in. And it's really hard to even identify you in that hole before somebody, you can actually reach out for help. So love what you're doing. How would somebody reach you at?
Thank
do you
you.
have a link?
Yeah.
Yes, go for it.
Absolutely. So home base for me is just my website, ericrecker.com. And there's links to hiring me as a coach or to, and really the thing, I like to make it a really easy onboarding process. First, we do a no obligation call. We just talk. I hear about your story a little bit, see if what I do might be a good fit for you. And we have a conversation about that. And then I will send you some options for packages and we can talk through that. So I really like it to be a very low pressure thing. If we're not a good fit, then I'm happy to help you find somebody that is a good fit for you. But I always want to be part of the good part of someone's story. I'm super passionate about that. That's what I want to do. And so if we can work together to help you get to a point where we're not always going to look forward to going to work every single day. Some people say that they do that. It's rare. But I want to take people who are dreading going to work every day and help them discover hope and belief that good days are ahead, because they can be if we work on it.
I really love the fact that you said, like, the first time you meet somebody, you ask them that what is it that they want? Because so much times we are like always get caught in the daily trivia of life that we really forget our goals, our passion, and we really kind of get sidetracked. And I think, that is one of those things. I think you're the expert. Once you get that online, I think everything starts falling into places. It's just the noise in this social media world of ours that we live in now.
Yep. Yeah. And we're, as dentists, we're high achievers, right? We are. We a lot of times own our own businesses. We manage teams. We do all this kind of thing. So when it comes to goal setting, we do that in the high achiever way too. We 50 goals, and there's no way we can pay enough attention to all of those goals. So a big part of what I do is helping people, walking alongside people and helping them get clear on what they really want. because when they get clear on what they really want, it all starts to make a whole lot more sense.
Love it. Love it. Last question for you, Doc. What does success mean to you?
Yeah. Oh man. Success means to me, so when I talk about success, I talk about my why or my purpose. So my why is to make a difference in this world that's utterly disproportionate to who I am. And for me, that is walking alongside individuals and helping them find a life that they love. Because we're meant to enjoy the lives that we have here. We're meant to find happiness. We're meant to have hope. Sometimes we just need some help along the journey. And that's what I want to do.
Great. I love it. I love it. Well, Dr. Eric Recker, thank you so much for coming along. I mean, this was a huge, huge help to many listeners who are actually burnt out. So if you are one of them that's burnt out, definitely look this man up, ericrecker.com. I mean, you cannot go wrong. Like he said, just a simple phone call to see if you're a good fit. And I think that will definitely pay off for itself. So with that being said, any last minute comments, Dr. Recker?
Yeah, burnout it's a tough word. And a lot of people don't want to raise their hand because burnout's like, oh, there's no way I could have let myself get burned out. You don't even have to use that term. If your life just feels a little gray, if you're not excited about life, if there aren't things in your life that, if you're just feeling like it's become dull, that's similar to burnout. It's a stage on the journey. I don't only work with people who say they are full on burned out. So if you just aren't living the life that you want to live, if you feel stuck, if you just need some hope, let's have a conversation, because that's what I love to help people do. It is my goal after I work with someone that they will leave with faith, hope, and belief that good days are ahead. And we all need some of that, right?
Every single day. Hey, Dr. Recker, it was such an honor to have you. It was such good information. Thank you so much once again for coming on board and sharing your wisdom. So with that being said, we are going to land the plane, and make sure you guys like and subscribe. Definitely look him up, ericrecker.com, ERICRECKER.com. And if there's any questions, DM me. In the meanwhile, look out for our next episode. Be great, and God bless.